So she saved her life, she saved my life, she probably saved the life of the guy in the pickup. And it's a very dangerous stretch of highway anyway, and it's not something you brag about, but what it did do is I thanked her hundreds of times from then till late September, and I thank her still. So I'm alive because of her. Now, there's a well-documented common response on a fatal disease process where the person that's sick faces fears of abandonment or the idea that they're just too much trouble. So another fact of Ilene is that she was a dancer. She danced with Martha Nishitani's school in the university district, and when I first met her, and she was a big fan of a thing now called EDM, acronym for electronic dance music. We're kind of fortunate in the Seattle area that there's a high school radio station at Nathan Hale that actually has an international reputation for its electronic dance music, and we've been fans of it for years. So there was a Swedish singer we really liked named Therese Grankvist, and I haven't heard anything of her for years, so I was Googling her name one day and found an interview with her in the British press, and she had released a single in Britain that, as far as I know, never had airplay in the US, but I found this video, and it was, the timing was good because it coincided with like the varsity team of the chemo drugs that she was getting had just stopped working, and we'd just arrived at the first day of summer. And interestingly, she entered hospice on the last day of summer. So I presented this video to her just to kind of reassure that, not that this had come up yet, but in case she was thinking about it, she would never be abandoned. And I really liked this video because it was animated by this British guy named Stuart Clark. I actually ran him down through LinkedIn Europe, because you can imagine how many Stuart Clarks there probably are in Britain. And I wrote and told him what we intended to do with this video. And he wrote me back and he said that it was a really tough contract. It was a London record company that commissioned the animation for the video, and he said it was a really stressful work and that it kind of made it all worthwhile to him to know it would be used in this way. So we will watch probably what would be the first electronic dance music in this chapel. Probably in its, I think this place was built about 1994, is it when this came into? Eileen's mother actually had her service here as well, as my brother-in-law reminded me, shortly after this was built. So anyway, let's go ahead and roll mandolin, and as the program states, you will be seeing the word mandolin flash in your eyes for a while. The effect is temporary. That was the last song that we danced to, and we last danced publicly in 1980. If I had things to change, I would probably add that to the list. Ilene always taught by quiet example. She was kind of in stealth mode like that. She would have considered it arrogant to like openly instruct somebody. She always exchanged like knitting technologies with other women on the ferry and that sort of thing, but she basically taught the most basic of fundamental lessons. If she had a practice, you could say it was probably to live by the golden rule, and it was fueled by exceptional perception on her part, and she was extremely empathic. She never got in anybody's face, except for the kid that called her a Jap, but he had it coming. She was also usually reluctant to ever offer advice that was not solicited, but she made an exception for that in the last 2 months of her life, and she got very emphatic about it. I'm going to read the direct quote so I don't mess it up. And she told this, there's always a verbal interchange with home health care workers or with her doctors or the nurses, and she would tell them, quote, "Don't assume you'll always have your health. So do what you dream of sooner than later. Don't put it off." Good advice. In cancer, by her quiet example, she, I'm sure, taught many about patience, equanimity, and acceptance. She also taught me to be generous. She was not only generous with her service abilities as a therapist, but she gave people time and attention, which is something a lot of people just simply can't afford with how their lives are structured. When we gave money, she preferred to do so anonymously, and her favorite recipients were PBS, NPR, and the high school station KNHC. That's not a plug, by the way. I've recently made a donation in her name to the high school, but it's a really good program. If you ever get a chance to listen to it, they have a good broadcast facility. It's FM 89.5. And it's been a dance music leader for decades, which it's interesting to be listening to a high school radio station where you know that you've been listening to the station longer than the DJs on the station have even been alive. She also taught me to soften my heart in many ways. I was kind of hard, and I wasn't exactly sure what she saw in me that made her make the leap. But she did, and I'm thankful for that. And she left me as a better person by a long shot. With that, I'd like to probably move towards the slideshow. I didn't have any pictures of her from about age 5 to high school graduation, so if you noticed a bit of a leap there in the chronology, that's because simply didn't have any pictures. The music on this video is pretty important to us. Back in around 1984 or 85, we were heading out to South Center Cinema one Sunday for a matinee, and there was a program called Musical Star Streams that used to air back in those days. And they aired music that kind of defied genre. And that's when we heard this first song called Heaven Sent from Japanese fusion artist Osamu Kitajima. It was Kitajima's music that you might have heard during the prelude here. But we were so entranced by this song. The song's 24 minutes long. I have just the first 9 minutes and 15 seconds of it, but we sat in the car so we could find out what this was. We'd never heard anything like it. We knew it was Japanese from the use of the traditional instruments. We missed the movie. We didn't really care about that. And then the last portion of music is also kind of an excerpt from a song called Release, sung by Sinead O'Connor, and it was a collaboration she did with a group called the Afro-Celt Sound Machine. The longer version has Gaelic in it, which is the language of some of my ancestors, But this is a fairly short period, and the lyrics are on the screen, but they won't be visible. So the lyrics are on the back, under the 3 pictures of Eileen, and she really liked this song. It was her favorite Sinead O'Connor piece, so I guess when you're ready, we'll roll the slideshow.
lost yourselves because of the loss of me. I'm sitting amongst yourselves. Don't think you can see me. Don't argue amongst yourselves because of the loss of me. I haven't gone anywhere, but out of my body. Reach out and you'll touch me. Make effort to speak to me. Call out and you'll hear me. Be happy for me.
Blackburn Arts, one of the famous names in slideshows. At this point, there will be family statements, and I'm not sure who all would like to speak and what order they would like to come in. This is kind of a self-organizing event at this point. So if anyone from the family would care to proceed, please do so.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Trent. I think after I say a few words here in remembrance of my sister, my other sister also wants to bring some remembrances, but I think she's going to have her husband read her statements. And I'm going to try to read mine. I hope you'll excuse me if I read most of it, because I'm not sure if I can get through this or not, but here it goes. My name, for all of you that don't know me, my name is Ilene Fukuda, and I'm Eileen's brother. And I have three sisters. Sister Janet, who's 1.5 years younger than I am. Another sister, Lillian, who's 4.5 years younger. And Eileen, who's 9 years younger than I am. And when I was thinking about what to share, I thought, you know, since our age differences were so great, I didn't do a lot of things together with Eileen when we were kids. But I do remember one instance, because it really scared me. But anyway, when she was still not quite walking, and I was about 10 years old then, I was in front of our house on the sidewalk. And our house was on a slight hill. And it had a porch, and it had maybe 4 or 5 steps, wooden steps down to a landing. And then from that cement landing, there's some more cement stairs, about 8 or 9 of them. And I was down the bottom of the sidewalk, and all of a sudden I hear this crash. And out comes Eileen in her stroller, through the screen door and the front door, down the porch, down the steps, onto the landing, down to the cement stairs, and I'm standing at the bottom ready to catch her. She's still upright in her stroller, but unfortunately, there was a hose stretched across the cement, and that flipped her stroller over. And so she landed here at my feet, you know, crying and everything, and boy, I was just frightened. But I picked her up, looked her over a little bit, and I could only see a few scratches on her. And after we checked her out, she was okay. She was, then I realized that she was a tough little kid. But another thing I remember about her was when we were kids, we all called her Mitsu. And if you look at it up there, Ilene Fukuda, it doesn't say the Mitsu, but that was her Japanese name, Mitsu. And Mitsu in Japanese means 3. And I think that probably my parents called her Mitsu because she was their 3rd daughter. Well, my mother called her Mitsu, my folks all called her Mitsu, my sisters called her Mitsu, my aunts, uncles, and everybody, all of us knew her as Mitsu. And so I think that for me, I just cut it short, and I just called her Meats. So I'd say, hey, Meats, all the time. Well, when Meats was about 13, I left home to serve in the Army, and I served on active duty for about 3 years. And during that time, I married Judy, my wife, and we had 2 boys, David and Randy. And after my active duty days were over, I came back home, and we stayed with my folks' place for a couple months until we bought a home. Well, anyway, one day, Meats comes up to me and says, you know what my friends asked me? And I said, no, I don't know. I said, they asked me, what did your brother call you? Did he call you a piece of meat? And I thought, oh boy, she's really gonna get mad at me for, calling her Meats like this. But you know what? She just broke out laughing. And then I really realized